Hello and welcome back to the Trainers of the World Tournament. I'm your host DeltaTDS, and for match number 118, we've got the Hoenn Elite Four Drake going up against the Factory Head Thorton. Drake, last round, took on the Galar Gym Leader Alistair and came out on top with a 2-1 victory. Thorton, last round, was going up against the Aether Foundation's Faba and came out with an undefeated 2-0 record. Honestly, no one liked Faba. Kinda glad he fell off, but Drake's got the Mega Salamence, Thornton's got the Mega Tyranitar. Another game with two very powerful Megas. And once these trainers are ready, we can begin game number 1. See just who will be moving on to round 4 to face off against Berg. Drake leading off with that fake Dragonfly, as Thornton leads off with that Ninetales, going for a Solar Beam, dealing 41%, as Earthquake does finish off that Ninetales. Thornton is sending out the Ambipom now as Drake switches out to the Salamence. Thornton gonna go for that Ice Punch, dealing 94% to Salamence. And revealing that Ambipom does have that Life Orb. Gonna Mega Evolve, but that Ambipom does take out the Ice Punch, or take out Salamence with that Ice Punch. First impression, it does do 41% to Ambipom. Ice Punch through that Yachi Berry deals just over half to Flygon. Another Ice Punch does take out that Flygon. Ambipom with -1 attack is sitting at 20% and already has 2 Pokemon taken out. Dragon Claw does take out the Ambipom. Thornton going to send out that Crobat here. Crobat going for that Brave Bird on the Dragalge, dealing 55%. Another Brave Bird does take out that Dragalge. And Crobat is sitting with just under 2/3 of its health. Sending back out the Haxorus, dealing 60% with that Dragon Claw. Brave Bird doing 2/3 to Haxorus, but the recoil does knock it out. It's currently 3v3 right now. Pretty close game. Thornton sending out the Swampert here. Drake is sending out the Altaria. Avalanche is going to do 98% to that Altaria. Dealing quite a lot of damage, but not enough to take it out. Though a second one does take it out. Drake sending out the Kingdra here. Dragon Pulse is going to do just over 1/3. Avalanche is going to do over half to Kingdra. Swampert living on 5%, takes out that Kingdra with another Avalanche. And it's all down to Haxorus here. Dragon Claw does finally finish off that Swampert. And Thornton sends out that Tyranitar. That Sandstorm gonna be brutal for Haxorus, basically putting it on a timer. If it didn't land the Earthquake. But Thornton does take game number 1 with 2 Pokemon remaining. We didn't see anything from the Latios, and as for the other 5 Pokemon, we saw one move from each of them. As for Drake's team, we didn't see anything from Salamence, Dragalge, and the other Pokemon we saw 1 to 2 moves. It looked pretty close first game. We are back on the field for game number 2, and once these trainers are ready, we can see if Thorton can take another 2-0 win, or if Drake can bring it to a game number 3. Drake sending out the Flygon, Thorton sending out the Ninetales again. Thorton switching out to the Crobat, dodging that Earthquake. Zen Headbutt with a crit's gonna do just under half to Flygon. Dragon Claw is gonna do 43% to Crobat. Zen Headbutt doing another third to Flygon. Dragon Claw doing another 42% to Crobat. These two slowly whittling down each other. Switching out to the Salamence, taking 27% from that Zen Headbutt. Gonna Mega Evolve, Parade Bird's gonna do 41% and knock itself out thanks to that recoil, as Salamence goes for a Dragon Dance. Salamence paired up with a Dragon Dance, not gonna be something you want to face. Sending out the Tyranitar here, setting up that Sandstorm, which is going to be dangerous for that Salamence. Earthquake's going to do 82% to Tyranitar, as Stone Edge does finish off that Salamence. Getting rid of that threat, bringing it down to 5v5. First impression with the critical hit from the Flygon's going to take out that Mega Tyranitar. And Thornton sending out the Latias. Switching out to the Altaria, Ice Beam takes it out, not giving it a chance to do anything. Drake sending out the Haxorus here. Gonna go for a Dragon Claw and take out that Latias. There's one more turn of Sandstorm left. Before I believe there's still Ninetales with Drought. Dragon Claw is gonna do 3/4 to Ambipom. Ice Punch is gonna do just over 2/3 to Haxorus, but that Dragon Claw does finish off the Ambipom. And Thornton sends out that Ninetales. Dragon Claw doing just over 2/3 again, as Extra Sensory does finish off that Haxorus. It's currently at 3v2 right now. Sending out the Kingdra here, as Solar Beam does just over 1/3 to Kingdra. Dragon Pulse does finish off that Ninetales. And it's all down to Swampert here. Kingdra going for a Yawn. Avalanche is going to do 1/4 to Kingdra. Dragon Pulse deals 1/3 to Swampert. Earthquake finishing off that Kingdra just as Swampert falls asleep. Now Drake has, I believe, up to 3 turns to take out this Swampert, which should be pretty easy. Dragon Pulse does over 1/3. Of course, it wakes up and Earthquake takes out the Dragalge. And it's down to Flygon and Thornton. Or Swampert. Flygon with the Earthquake does take out that Swampert. And Drake takes game 2, which means we're going on to a game 3. Both trainers are playing very well right now. We saw a bit more from Thornton's team, and we saw a bit more from Drake's team, though we didn't see anything new from that Altaria. We are back on the field for game number 3. Drake's currently got a win, Thornton's got a win, and once these trainers are ready, we can see who will be moving on to round 4. Drake leading off with the Haxorus as Thorton leads off with that Swampert. Both new leads for these two trainers. Switching out to the Kingdra, Avalanche is going to do a quarter to that Kingdra as it goes for Yawn on the Swampert. Earthquake's going to do nearly 2/3 to that Kingdra. Hydro Pump missing the Swampert as an Earthquake does take out that Kingdra just as Swampert falls asleep. Salamence being sent out here, gonna intimidate that Swampert. Switching out to the Tyranitar as Salamence Mega Evolves and goes for a Dragon Dance. Earthquake gonna do 85% to Tyranitar as a critical hit Stone Edge takes out Salamence, not giving that Salamence a chance to set up and do massive damage to Thornton's team. Drake sending out the Flygon here. First impression does finish off that Mega Tyranitar, and it is currently 4v5 right now as Thornton sends out the Latias. Ice Beam through that Yachi Berry is going to do 3/4 to Flygon as Dragon Claw deals 91% to Latias. Latias going for Ice Beam, taking out the Altaria, and just as the Sandstorm subsides, first impression does finish off that Latias. It's currently 3v4 now. Thornton sending out that Ambipom. You've seen this thing do a lot of damage in the first game. Ice Punch is going to do just a shy of 2/3 to Dragalge. Another one does take it out though. Drake debating on which Pokemon to send out. Going with the Flygon. Switching out to the Crobat as it goes for first impression, dealing 9% to Crobat. Brave Bird does take out that Flygon, and it's all down to Haxorus here. Dragon Claw is going to do 60% to Crobat. Brave Bird is going to do 63 to Haxorus. Dragon Claw does finish off that Crobat, and Haxorus still has 3 Pokemon to go through. Dragon Claw is going to do 73%, but an Ice Punch with a critical hit too takes out that Haxorus just as Ambipom falls. And Thornton takes game number 3, which means he will be moving on to round 4, where he'll be going up against the Bug-type Gym Leader Berg. Thank you so much for watching, and until then, take care.